Hi everyone, and welcome to another segment of AstrologyAnswers.com's weekly horoscope. My name is Terence Gardino. Well, this is the last week before the new moon, the first new moon of the new year, which will be on Saturday, January the 9th. The new moon is a time of new beginnings, and it initiates a new 4-week monthly cycle. Therefore, the last week is a wrapping up and a winding down of the previous cycle. So overall, it's not the best time to be initiating major new projects. Plus, Mercury is going retrograde on Tuesday, January the 5th. And so until January the 25th. And of course, with Mercury in retrograde, Mercury is this planet of your expectations and plans and commitments. But when it's retrograde, it's best to be reviewing, revising, retooling, re-editing, and kind of like reviewing what has been transpiring with all your plans and expectations for the previous months before really making commitments and moving forwards in the new year. So this certainly, yes, it's the first week of January. We want to hit the ground running, really get going on the new year, but it's the last week before the new moon, and Mercury is going retrograde. So it's best to just take your time and kind of review everything and don't be making any important decisions if you can all help it. Now, on the 5th, as Mercury goes retrograde, and so this could be a time, remember, of misunderstandings, miscommunications. I always teach, make sure that you ask the person to repeat what they've said, or you repeat back what you think you've heard to make sure there's no misunderstandings. And Mercury, the planet of communications, is going to be in a hard angle to Mars. So this could be all this impulsive snap decisions or even some ego disputes and a lot of stress and tension. As the Sun is crossing Pluto, putting a spotlight on compulsive, obsessive Pluto. So there's a lot of intensity going on Tuesday the 5th. And social love planet Venus is in a difficult angle to Neptune. This could be a time when you're being too dreamy, too idealistic, and with Mercury in retrograde, you may have all these expectations that could be disappointed with the Venus-Neptune and as Mercury is retrograde. Often with Mercury in retrograde, the reason why you don't want to make really important decisions is often you don't have all the information to make the best decision. So you just, as I keep repeating, just slow it down and get second opinions and think about it more slowly. On Thursday, the 7th of January, Jupiter goes retrograde until May the 9th. Now, Jupiter retrogrades for like 4 or 5 months every year. But Jupiter is the planet of growth and expansion and optimism. When it goes retrograde, whatever's been promised to you, whatever you're expecting, it may be more delayed, or it might be smaller than you were expecting. So just, keep that in mind. But it happens every year. Now, on that same day, the Sun is going to be in a hard angle to Uranus. And that could bring in, on one hand, you're wanting to reinvent the wheel and, break out and try new things and reinvent yourself. But it can be very unpredictable energy. And with Mercury in retrograde and now Jupiter going retrograde, if you're allowing yourself to make too many plans, have too many expectations, it may all need to be readjusted and reevaluated. So you just want to keep it all kind of more grounded. On Friday, Venus is going to be aligning with Saturn. And now this can actually be good for artists and performers because the Venus is that creative expression, with Saturn can can manifest it, good for business. It can organize it. So you can actually, with Venus Saturn, you can make real Saturn the art expression Venus. But on a softer note, Venus is the planet of love. And relationships could be very much tested. The good ones always get stronger. But Mercury is retrograde. And so they're, more prone to assuming and and jumping to conclusions, misunderstandings. So I'm only concerned about that weak relationships could be really weakened and break down on that Friday, January the 8th. And it's the day before the new moon. And that new moon, yes, it's now time to start a new monthly cycle and maybe get moving into thinking about the new year. But this new moon is crossing Pluto and in hard angle to Uranus. So that Pluto wants to transform, wants to overhaul and make some profound change. So some of you might really be thinking about, what can I do to make some important changes into the new year? And Uranus can certainly throw in a monkey wrench, bringing in this unpredictable energy, but also trying to break away from the old cycle. But still, Mercury is retrograde, so don't have a lot of expectations and just let things organically take their own path. So this first full week of January 2016 is filled with a lot of planetary activity. You might be brainstorming ideas, you may be excited, you may be stressed, but I'm suggesting that you calm it all down, sleep on it, and don't make any long-term or important decisions for a while. Now, I want to thank you for requesting me for those one question offers, and you can find a link to the questions in the description page of the YouTube, if you're watching from the YouTube channel. But again, I always ask you to make sure you try to find a good time of birth, because you'll get more detail, more information when I'm responding, and repeat the time of birth in the question box, just to make sure we have it all correct. So I want to thank you for tuning in. I hope to see you next week for my next segment. Until then, stay calm as we unfold a whole new solar year.